What's up, guys? DJ Neeks here, and welcome to my review of Spider-Man Homecoming. While I'm talking about the movie, as you can see, I'm going to be playing, we are once again back in Diablo 3. This time, I am in the process of leveling my new Necromancer, the class that was released for this game recently. So you'll be able to see me doing just, some of the busy work of going through these zones here, leveling him up, going through the story, because, there are trophies for it. So, plus, obviously, I want to see how this class plays in comparison to the previous ones. But anyway, that's not why you guys are here. You wanting to know what I think about the new Spider-Man movie. Well, basically, this is now my new favorite Spider-Man movie. Yes, I liked it that much. I saw it a second time recently. I saw it on Thursday night when it was first released, and then I took my parents to see it so I could see it a second time as well, and I liked it as much as I did the first time. Obviously, when you see a movie a second time, you see things a little differently. But yeah, my feelings haven't changed. I like this more than any of the other Spider-Man movies, including the first two Tobey Maguire ones, which usually are regarded as the two best. But I actually like this one more than those two. I'm sure some people are not going to feel the same way, and that's totally understandable. I'm not saying that, you have to say this is the new best one or else or anything like that. That's not all I'm saying. I just now like this more than any of the others. It's just how I personally feel about it. There was a new rune unlocked. So, let me see here. I like this one. But, hold on. Sorry, these things pop up. You gotta check what it is. Oh, that's not bad. But yeah, here's something that I really like. What's this new ability I just saw? Launches a bone spirit that will seek enemies. Deals damage on impacts. You gain a charge every 15 seconds. You can start with 3 charge. That's not bad. But I like this armor for, protection and defense and survivability. For now, anyway. Plus, against all these skeleton enemies, it makes sense. Yeah. You know right off the bat, right away, this movie is like, hey, guess what? This is now part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, unlike the previous movies. If that wasn't clear, we're going to make it to you clear pretty early on in this movie here. And they pretty much do that. But you can tell that Marvel really wanted to do this right and do the character right. From what I've heard or understand, I mean, they, of course, went to great lengths in their negotiations with Sony to make this happen, this arrangement where they could be allowed to use Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Now, the movie, shows that it's both a Sony and Marvel movie, though Marvel Studios clearly produced it. It even says it's a Marvel Studios production, and it shows. The tone for this one is quite different from the previous movies. The Tobey ones, the Andrew ones. There is a clear-cut feel and difference between this movie and those previous movies. There is that very lighthearted nature about it that Marvel has really embraced with its movies and its characters. And by the way, of course, you have references all over the place to the various different movies. As you probably saw in the previews, Tony Stark is in this movie, so Iron Man is in this movie, though not as much as the previews might have led you to believe, which is perfectly fine. He's used very sparingly. In fact, Jon Favreau's character, Happy, is used more in this movie than Tony Stark is, pretty much. They let it really be focused on Spider-Man, on what he's going through and what he's dealing with, how he feels about the whole thing. It's a direct continuation from what happened in Civil War. If you haven't seen Captain America: Civil War, first off, why have you not seen that amazing movie? But second off, you kind of do need to see it in order to understand some things that are going on here. Plus, if you don't, you're going to get spoiled about some things that do happen in that movie because they do show some things that happen at the end of Civil War that you do want to make sure you see that movie first. Otherwise, you're going to get spoiled by it pretty much in this one. But yeah, it shows that what happened in Civil War has a direct influence here because it very much shows that that what happened there is affecting Peter because he thinks that he's going to be able to become the next member of the Avengers, thinking like, well, Tony Stark recruited me to help out with Captain America, so I must be good enough to be a new Avenger, and he's like ready to become a new Avenger, and he's like, well, we're not quite there yet. If we need you, we'll call you, which of course they don't. Like, a few months pass by without any calls, and he's very antsy. He's ready to do stuff. He's ready to be Spider-Man, but Tony Stark knows that he's not quite ready yet. I mean, he's 15 years old. Sometimes mistakenly thinks he's 14. And Tony knows that this kid has some growing up to do. He's got some growing to do as both a person, but also as a hero. He knows, he didn't become Iron Man overnight, so he knows what it's like. He has some growing to do before he can become the Spider-Man that we all know he can be. So that's really deals with that. Plus, it delves a lot. It delves a lot into the whole aspect of Peter Parker having to balance being a high school kid, which is something they did not really do in the Sony movies. They kind of did it in the first Andrew Garfield one. But they really, it was slightly there in the first Tobey Maguire one, but really not much because part through the way through the movie, all of a sudden, boom, they graduate and that's it. The high school phase is over. And it was like, oh, okay. Because they just wanted to get right to him being an adult and working for J. Jonah Jameson at the Bugle and such, which is fine. But part of the appeal for Spider-Man for a long time, what was it? What did I just accomplish there? Hold on. What challenge did I just pull off there? Oh, kill 5,000 elite. Really? I had never done that one before? Huh, how about that? But anyway, they didn't really delve into that much in the Sony movies, that whole aspect of him having to be both a high schooler and a superhero, having to try and somehow balance that in his life, and how difficult that is for him. And this one, they really, really explore that aspect. Blah blah blah. There we go. And it's really really cool how I really enjoyed that part of it. That you see that this that he's really this. Some people thought he was a little too young when he showed up in Civil War, but I thought that was the whole point. That was what Marvel wanted. That they are trying to make it seem as if he is too young. That's part of the whole point of this story, is that he might be too young for this, but he has to kind of grow up and prove himself. And this movie does a really good job of that. With him also having to go up against Michael Keaton, who plays the Vulture, and he does a great job. And this is a huge step up for Marvel, because in some of their movies, the villain is not really an aspect that's considered a strong suit. It's not really something that a lot of us really think is a strong aspect of their movies. If you look at some of their movies, the villain is sometimes very weak and not a very good character. But in this one, they take a step in the right direction with Michael Keaton as the Vulture, because this guy owns the screen when he is on it. He does a great job. Not necessarily when he's in full Vulture gear, even though that does look awesome. He looks great when he's in the Vulture gear. But it's when he doesn't have the mask on and he's just him, himself, and he's talking, that he just rocks it. He has some great dialogue in this, especially towards the end when he has a conversation with Peter about, thinking about why he does what he does. I'm not gonna say what it is because you gotta see it. I want you guys to go see it yourself. But he does a great job in this. So that's a big plus in this movie compared to other Marvel movies where the villain is usually a letdown. This guy isn't a letdown. In fact, not only is he a great villain, but he helps set up the possibility they tease some more that could possibly be coming in the future in other Spider-Man movies, maybe in other Marvel movies. We'll have to wait and see if they somehow incorporate that into other Marvel movies. I don't know, or if they'll just keep it strictly to Spider-Man movies on their own. But they did a fantastic job. Usually the Vulture is not really considered one of the top Spider-Man villains, but they made him a great villain in this. And they really do some really cool stuff and tease some cool stuff to set up other aspects that I believe are going to come into play in later movies, especially the next Avengers movie and when we get to Infinity War. Because if you have been paying attention, like on Facebook or such, they've been kind of releasing some behind-the-scenes videos of, hey, we're here on the set shooting Avengers Infinity War, and you'll see both Robert Downey Jr. and Tom Holland on the set. So you know that Spider-Man is going to be in the next Avengers movie, Infinity War Part 1, at least Part 1, because if you recall, Part 1 is supposed to come out like next year, 2018, and then Part 2 is supposed to be like 2019. But here's the interesting thing, though, guys. That I thought was supposed to, I wasn't sure if maybe Phase 3 was going to be the final phase, because usually you would think that Infinity War Part 2, I thought maybe it was going to be the last one they do to close off this whole storyline, but apparently not, because they said that the sequel, Spider-Man Homecoming 2, or maybe it'll be Spider-Man something else, because they said that the sequel to this movie is going to kickstart Phase 4. And I thought to myself, wait, there's going to be a Phase 4? You mean there's going to be more? That sounds amazing. I mean, I would love to know where they go from here, or if maybe they don't finish off Thanos at the end of Infinity War. Maybe maybe he gets away or is imprisoned or something. But man, there's gonna be a Phase 4. This is gonna keep going, and I love it. It's just great, more comic book superhero movies for us, which is always great. Well, maybe not always great, but because there have been some stinkers in the past, but Marvel has proven themselves. They have proven that their movies are the good ones, and that they treat them right. They give them the right treatment. They treat their heroes wonderfully, and I could tell right away this was going to be that way, because when the Marvel Studios logo came up, they played an instrumental version of the Spider-Man theme song. As it starts playing, and then you hear da 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 da, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the Spider-Man theme. It's playing like with an orchestra. That told me right there, because you never really heard that in the Sony movies. I never felt like Sony properly, with the exception of the first two Tobey Maguire movies. There were some things that they did well, but I wasn't really sure if Sony knew how to properly take care of this character, because Sony didn't make Spider-Man. Marvel did. Stan Lee did. So Marvel is the rightful owner, despite Sony owning the rights. I know I'm not going to get into this whole debate about it, but I mean, come on. Spider-Man came from Marvel Comics. He is a Marvel character. So you felt like they were showing that they care about this character and they want to treat him right, treat him properly. And that was the feeling that I got in this. To me, Homecoming has a double meaning. Obviously, Homecoming is referring to the part that Peter Parker has homecoming dance coming up, and he's got to deal with that. But to me, it was also signifying that Spider-Man has come home to the Marvel Universe, where he belongs, where we all wanted him to be. And thank goodness that deal worked out between Sony and Marvel, where this could happen, because now we have this new Spider-Man movie. We have this new series of movies that are going to be coming with Spider-Man as a featured member in the Marvel Universe, along with the Avengers and Doctor Strange and the Guardians of the Galaxy, which, of course, we all know they're all going to be meeting up and teaming up. In fact, don't forget, guys, not just those. We got Black Panther also, which his movie is going to be coming soon. We have Captain Marvel. Her movie is coming soon, so she might be joining in here. I cannot wait to see how that goes and how strong and powerful they make her. Because they did an amazing job with Doctor Strange, but how are they going to do it with Captain Marvel? That I cannot wait to see. But there's just so many things I liked about it. Of course, you had this usual Stan Lee cameo. You had the end credit scenes, one of which was a fantastic joke, because as you guys know, they have trained us to wait during the credits for scenes, to happen. Little teasers ever since the scene popped up with Nick Fury. Samuel L. Jackson talking about Shield, or hinting at the Avengers. We were all, oh my gosh, and they have been doing that ever since. And of course, they make a joke about it. It's really funny. So during the movie, they have these little videos they play in school, like PSAs for the students in various situations, whether it's gym class, whether it's detention, and it's with Captain America, which is really funny. The first one is like in gym class, he shows and goes, "Hi, I'm Captain America. Welcome to gym class." And what's funny is you're thinking, why would they be showing this after what happened in Civil War? Well, even the gym teacher goes, "Yeah, I'm pretty sure that guy's a war criminal now, but the state kind of requires me to play this, so whatever." So, which was, I thought, great that they acknowledged that. And they do play that like one or two more times. And then at the end of the credits, he shows up and goes, "Hi, I'm Captain America. I'm going to talk to you guys today about patience. Sometimes we need patience in our lives, but sometimes patience can be very unrewarding. Sometimes you can just wait around all day for something and you don't get what you want." And of course, that's when we all started laughing, realizing that this is a joke towards us about waiting for an end credits scene. So that was really funny. So that's the one at the end of credits that, like, once you know about it, you don't necessarily have to wait for it, but it's still funny to see it. And as I said, the other one, I'm not going to tell you guys what it is, because you guys should go see it and see for yourself, get the references that I picked up on, which got me very excited. And keep in mind, guys, I grew up with Spider-Man. Spider-Man is my all-time favorite Marvel hero, just slightly above Wolverine. For me, it's Spider-Man and Wolverine. They're so close, but if I had to choose, I would choose Spider-Man. And this was the character. Tom Holland reminded me why I love Spider-Man and why I have always wanted to see this kind of Spider-Man in the movies, because, well, he reminded us why he appealed to us so much, and I love that about this. So Tom Holland is my new favorite Spider-Man. This is my new favorite Spider-Man movie. I highly encourage you guys to go check this out. I know the last time we saw a Spider-Man movie, The Amazing Spider-Man 2, it left a bad taste in a lot of our mouths. Now, I didn't think that movie was as terrible as some people think. I still think Spider-Man 3 is worse than Amazing Spider-Man 2. I just think they did some missteps with Amazing Spider-Man 2. I didn't think it was awful, but compared to Spider-Man 3. But, so I can understand why some people feel that one was worse. I can understand why, even though I don't necessarily feel that same way. But if at that point you were like, nope, I'm done with Spider-Man movies, I encourage you, go check this one out. It's great. It's as good of a Spider-Man movie as we have ever had. I promise you, you will not be disappointed if you go and check this one out. So that's my review of Spider-Man Homecoming. I would give it a very high 9 out of 10. Highly encourage you guys to go see it. And I cannot wait to see. I think the next Marvel movie is going to be The Black Panther, which I'm very excited to see that after his introduction in Captain America Civil War. And of course, typical Marvel, they introduce these characters in Civil War, and now they're each getting their own movies where we are going to be able to get to see aspects of these characters that we didn't see before. I think it's going to be fantastic, because we saw that in this movie with Spider-Man, and I cannot wait to see how they do it with the Black Panther and his solo movie. And I will see you guys next time.